welcome back to my channel, Margaret Knob Designs. Looking forward to getting on to our second tutorial for this album for Prima Farm Sweet Farm. And the only thing that I've done since we were last together was I added this ribbon, which I got from Country Craft Creations, to my binder. I measured halfway and I put it in the middle on the front and the back, and as always I seem to forget to put it underneath my double matting. So this is a pretty thick ribbon, and so I put some score tape over the end of that. These pieces were anywhere from 16 to 18 inches each. I like to make them a little bit bigger so that I can make sure that I have enough ribbon. I'd rather have enough than find I didn't have enough. On the ends of these, as well as the ends that are on the book, I did put Fabri-Tac on that so that they won't fray any further. The other thing that I may end up doing is putting some doodads on the end of this, just to maybe make the ends of this a little bit more pretty. I'm not really sure yet what I will do, but it's a possibility. So as we get back together today, I have the inside cover, front page, those items ready to go pretty much. So what I'd like to do is do the cover first, because I'd like to just get the papers on it. Let me make sure I've got it the right way. Some of these were upside down in some of the folio because I actually put the pages in so they were going a different way than what I originally thought was the front. So what I'm going to do is something a little bit different for the front of the covers, front and back of the covers. I wanted to try out doing something like this, where I could try to do something plainer on top so that you know, and of course, it always happens, doesn't it? That our tape, you know, this happens to me all the time. If I'm writing something on the page and I think it's going to be hidden by the paper, I seem to always hit it so that it's right in the middle where there's going to be an opening or something. So next time, I'm going to say that for writing anyways, should maybe go towards the top of the page. For this, I thought I had hit it right, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm just going to push that back a little bit and make sure that I have that measured well enough so that it, there we go, that one worked better. Take that off. Maybe next time I need to put it up, the ribbon, instead of in the center, maybe just about an inch or two higher. And sometimes actually the higher, not putting it in the middle, sometimes actually looks better than putting it directly in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the front and back cardstock on here, and then I'm going to get the other cardstock on here. And you can see it's the very opposite side. But I wanted to make sure that my covers were not too busy on top, because I want to use some flowers on the front, or I just didn't want it to be too busy. So I wanted to try out doing something a little bit different. And so I think I'm going to do this first, because I was going to also do that on the front, but when I was measuring it out, it wasn't coming out quite as even as I wanted it to. So I may end up putting just a strip down there, maybe just the pattern paper rather than the strip of that with the strip of the pattern paper. So let's do that first. And I'm going to get that glued on, and we should be set to go. This way we can also watch that we are putting it as straight of a line across as we can. How's everybody doing today? For me, it's a Sunday, so this will probably come out in probably a week after this. Not quite sure. We'll see. Trying to get this done a little bit quicker because this paper collection is so beautiful. And I might even take and put an ephemera piece or something over this, or to hold that down a little bit. I hadn't thought about the fact that I was going to be using such thick ribbon, but it's all good. We'll figure it out some way. In paper crafting, there's always opportunities to try different things. So I'm going to turn this upside down so that I can make sure that I can match this up with this side. I want to, oh shoot, I was going to pull that. Darn it. Well, I'm not going to worry about it now. What I wanted to do is pull this off. And I think that would have helped a little bit. Okay, then I just want to hold this up to see if we're pretty close there. All right. Let me get this. That actually would, I almost threw this out instead of my tape. I also inked around the sides of all the paper. It's not a heavy inking, it's just enough to, I don't like to see if there's any white in the core of the cardstock. Plus, I am trying to make sure that when I'm putting this down, I am putting this piece to the edge, just like I did on the other side, the darker piece, so it's matching each other. I think I need a bigger desk. I actually have a bigger one, I think, for my new craft room, so I can't wait. So at least I can put things out of my way. Alrighty. So that looks pretty even all the way across. So let's get our second piece of the paper, and this should fit right like this. Let's see if this one fits just like that too. I like that little bit of a space. So one of two things is that I can, I may put a ribbon or a piece of the paper across that opening, but I measured it so that I would have that burgundy opening, so there would be a separation between the two, because I like the way that looks a little bit better than making it look like continuous cardstock. And on this end is going on this side, so I know that I'm pretty comparable with what I'm doing. Did I ink all that? Nope, I did not. Sorry, I thought I inked all of these last night when I cut them out. So the height and width of our front cover and back cover is 8.5 going down, so and 8.5 going across. So what I did was I cut this piece of the pattern paper 3 1/4 by 8 3/8. So And then this would have been 8 3/8 across. And I believe it's 5 or 5 1/4. Nope, it is 4 7/8. 4 7/8 by, what did I say? 8 1/4. So that's the same measurement for the front and the back. Let's see, I inked, that one I inked. This one I did not. Such a nice sunny day here today, and we're in Wisconsin. So any kind of sunshine, even with a little bit of cold, is okay with us. The sunshine is just really great to see. Sorry if I'm off camera, I'm just putting the ink on there. Or ink, the glue. I think I have ink on the brain. It looks pretty comparable. So then I can do like something on the front here, and I could run flowers along there, or maybe a little small down here. Just didn't want this to be too busy. I think this one looks better this direction. Hope I'm not off camera. If I am, guys, I'm so sorry. I try to stay within a regulated area, but I do not have a secondary screen to be able to watch my placement. And I always do this dry fitting just to make sure that everything is fitting as I expected it to. It's a lot easier to dry fit, spend the extra time to do that, than have to figure out how to get it off because it didn't fit quite right. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think that's pretty close to even. So my thought is that I was going to do this. Sorry if my head's in the way. To do this, matching up here, and then to do this one down here. Actually, that's not too bad. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you know what? If I don't like it when I get further along, I tell you, I will just put pattern paper over it. Or I'll wrap the spine differently or something. The nice thing about paper crafting is a lot of times there's a lot you can do to change things or fix things. And I always call those opportunities, creative opportunities. Yeah, I'm a little bit off there, but not too bad. I'm pretty straight on with the front. It's a little bit off with the back, so I think I'm going to be okay. Let me hit this with some ink. Yeah, not too bad. Just wanted to try to have that continuous look going through. It's a little bit off from the back, but I don't think we're going to notice it as much. So that's great. So we've got our covers, and the cover's done. This is as far as I'll go until I do final decorating. I just like to have that cardstock or paper out on the cover, the ones that I like the best. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is working on the inside and the back cover. And I'm going to tell you truthfully, I think I've done this once before or a couple times before, but a lot of times why I don't do all of this on camera is I don't want it to be take up too much of your time and watching me do things that you know, are decorating the book. So if you could let me know down in the comments whether you like having that done or you like to just watch it, just part of it, not maybe all of it being decorated throughout. So the inside front cover, I'm going to be doing a double mat, and on this double mat, the matting, let's just see, outside, spine hinges, let me covers outside, inside front cover, pockets, that. This is going to, because this is 8.5 by 8.5, this is going to be 8 5/8. Nope, sorry. 8 3/8 by 8 3/8. Sorry about that. So eighth of an inch. And these actually should fit on pretty similar from the front to back because they're the same measurement. So I'm going to put my solid cardstock on. One of the other things that I really like to do with my albums is I do like ties and ribbons and things like that, but to be very honest, I frequently use magnets, but feel free to use other types of methods for closing your album and or holding on a page, or not a page, but you know, a flip flap or something. Don't feel that you have to use magnets on everything. You just have to make sure though that if you're putting a ribbon on to hold a waterfall down or a strap such as that, that you need to make sure that you put that down under your pattern paper, or you put it down and it then hides the back of it, or you could use a piece of ephemera as well to hide it down. So let me get this one on. I'm going to also be making another project out of the Prima, something that's a little bit smaller than this album. Is there anything that you'd like to see? I was thinking about doing a small folio or some boxes. I love making boxes with some cards in it, possibly. And maybe it's more like, maybe not birthday cards, but just all-purpose general cards. Not 100% sure. But that's what I was thinking. Let me know what you're thinking, what you'd like to see. So one of the things that I wanted to do with this part of our cover is I wanted to put a little bit of a different kind of a patchwork. I think I'm going to be trying that with this collection, is I want to try to do some different patchworking of paper. That's what my idea is right now. I'm going to have to see how well I do with that. And then I'm going to put some pockets right here, and I'll put a pocket right up here as well. So, and then down the sides here, I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll do it before we finish the album. I'm going to put, I think, like 2x2 photos or something on there. I have to just measure it out a little bit. I wouldn't do anything bigger than a 3x3, or I do a 3 and a 3x3, but I'd like to do 3 along here because I have 2 over on this side. So for cutting purposes for this, my pattern paper is 4 7/8 by 8 1/4. This is, of course, 8 1/4 by 3 1/8. So I was either thinking, no, I think I'm going to do that. Yeah. So this has all been inked around. I really like that Prima gives you the extra patterned paper. I just wish that rather than 6 designs only, that they would do a few more designs and maybe not so many cut parts in their paper. But actually, that's kind of why I've been thinking about, when I talked about the patterns, I was thinking about doing some patchwork kind of patterns with the album, because there is so many of the cards, so like that. So whether we do something in the middle and put a frame around it or something, but even using that as kind of a patchwork for what we're putting down. So I don't know, but that's why I was thinking, because there is 1 or 2 pattern papers in this collection that they're okay, but it's not my favorite. So the less that I have to use it, the better. But I will use it onto the inside of the book, so it's not really evident. And the one that I don't really like is I don't know if it's a recipe, or that's really the only one that I don't really like. But you know what? Every paper pad is a little bit different. You know, you can have every single one of them that you like, or you can have a few that just aren't your style. And that happens. So where I can not have to use those, I don't. And where I have to use them, I do. So this pocket, this bottom pocket, I'm going to be doing the bigger pocket on the bottom. I did not pull cardstock for this. I'll put that on myself off camera, because I'm going to see what I have left over. Usually I like to do it that way. So this is 5 3/4, and it's scored at 1/2 inch on either side. And then it is 3 1/2, 3 1/2 tall, or this way, and 1/2 inch scored. And then the corners are mitered all the way around. And I'm going to be putting this down so that it's centered on this page, and then this one is going to go up here. And this is a little bit less of a pattern paper, so I may put something maybe a little bit more busy on these pockets. So this pocket, the smaller pocket, is the same length. So lengthwise, I do this all the time. This is 5 1/2, and then scored at 1/2 inch and mitered. And this pocket is 2 1/2, and then 1/2 inch hinge there. So we will put this on, and when I put my pockets on, I like to put my pockets so that this goes over this. Oh, wait. Nope, other way. I almost told you wrong. I like to put this to the back so that when our tag goes in, it doesn't hit this when it's going in. Another way that you can do that is you can put it down by the bottom hinge to begin with, and then put some packing tape or other tape over that just to hold it down a little more. I found that packing tape really works the best when you do that with the additional tape. I'm not going to do that, but I have done it in the past. So let's get our pockets on. And these pockets, because they have hinges on them, they will give you plenty of room to put more than one tag on it, or in it, I should say. So let's try to there we go. I sure hope I was in camera. I'm sorry if I was not. And I hope my head's not in the way. So I'm going to measure that up from that, and then I'm going to slowly move that up a little bit. And I'm not going to move it too far away because I want to be able to still put some small tags or something in there. I probably should have put this one down a little bit further, but no matter. We won't worry about that. My eyes are crooked with old age. I feel like I don't see as straight as I used to. So, and then we'll cover that with pattern paper or maybe plain paper. And I'm going to do 3 photo mats going down here. Let's see, do I have some photo mats? Thought I had them right here. Sorry. Can't seem to find them, but that's not unusual. So I'm going to put the 3 going down here, and I'll measure them out, and I'll give you those measurements as we go through. So the next page that we have is, I am not double matting my pages inside the book because I'd rather leave the the thickness for my photos or other types of odds and ends. So I love the matting. I love double matting everything, quite honestly, but throughout here, I'm not going to be doing that. So on this page, I have to remember what I was going to do, huh? What we're going to be doing is we are going to do the same paper front and back, and this one is going to go down right onto here, and this is going to be hold that down. So I've got to make sure I get a magnet on here, and I use the same paper front and back, and the design paper on here is 3 3/8 by 8 1/8. And this is 4 by 8 1/4. And make sure that on the 4-inch side that you score at 1/2 inch. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put, let me see which one I want, just to see how it's facing. And I'm going to put my magnet on the back. I traditionally use the larger magnets. I find that I find that the larger magnets hold better. Whenever I use the smaller ones, I just never get as good of a fit, or not fit, but I feel like I'm always losing stickiness or magnetic. So we're going to go with this one. So I just want to make sure that I'm putting this all down so that I'm decorating as I go. I know that some people like to put all their flips and flaps in the book before they put any pattern paper on. I tend to like to do it as I go, and the only reason for that is because I feel like sometimes I would put paper down, or I put a flip and flap down, and I would need to have had pattern paper down first. So I just normally go along and do the whole thing at the same time. Plus then, by doing it that way, I also feel like I can see what paper I have and how I can put different flaps and things in my book as I go. So that's my that's how I do it, but I know many people like to do it that way. And I think, you know, one of these times coming up, I may go ahead and try doing that again and see, maybe because I'm a little bit more experienced now with album making, that maybe I wouldn't make that mistake. But we'll see. So what do you like to do? Do you like to decorate as you go, make your flips and flaps, or do you like to you know, do it like I do, where I put pattern paper down as I go along here? Boy, this is a stubborn one. Okay. So this is our flap that's going to go down onto here. This is where our spine is. And I'm going to put that probably like about 1/16 of an inch away. I'll tell you, I'm having a really hard time seeing this myself with my eyes. So I am going to throw some lighter colored cardstock in here just to help me make sure that I get that lined up really well. So I have my hinge here, and I mitered the edges of the hinge. And we are going to put this down with our glue. And I'd like to put these flaps down first so that I can cover those hinges. I can cover the hinges before I put the other pattern paper down. So this is just off of 1/16 of an inch, so I'm good with that. You know what? I did that. Didn't I just say to you that I was going to put my magnets down? Oh my, see, that's what I do. And you're probably all out there screaming at me. Let me see. I may do something different here, but I'm going to, I guess I could. God darn it. You know what? I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do this possibly a little bit higher. And, or do I want to do it there? Ah, you know what? Sorry about that. I forgot what I was going to do. What I decided to do was I put my magnets on these, and these are going to be attached onto here. Ah, there we go. So what I'm going to be doing is putting these cards onto the edge of this flap, And I am going to leave this partially open so I can put other tags or tabs in there as well. So we'll only glue it around, and we'll put that on like that, and then on the front and back. The one thing that I did make a mistake on is I really wanted this magnet to be out further, but the way I was putting it together, I put it on the inside. It's not going to really make that huge of a difference, but I just want you to know I would have put it over here more, but I ended up putting it there. Ooh, there you go. I didn't have to worry about my I can't even talk today. So putting my magnet on, there we go. Sometimes I just tell you, it's like when I'm crafting and trying to talk at the same time, it's not always a good thing. So I am going to put this flap down this way. On this side, so that will hold that down. And so now I'm going to do this. I'm very careful not to damage my, ooh, I didn't miter those. So with this, this black piece, I made this 8 1/4 by 8 1/8. This was 8 1/8 to make it a little bit shorter. Let me just make sure. God, I gotta, you know, that's even another thing is that overnight, oh my gosh, I lose all perspective of what I was doing. So top to bottom, it is 8 1/4, and side to side, this is 8 1/2. And so the 8 1/8, or 8 inches, comes in here where we have a 1/2 inch. So you need to have a 1/2 inch for the hinge. And some of these I did take a snippet off, like a 1/32 or 1/16 of a snippet, so that I could make it so that it fits together well. But I will tell you what I do with my pencil. My designer paper that is going to go on here would be actually 7 7/8 by 8 1/8. So, but I think I am doing some piecing together again, so I'll have to see how that comes out as we lay it down. So, alrighty. Please feel free that if you have any questions about anything with this tutorial, you're more than welcome to ask questions down in the bottom. I do not have a full written instructions for everything, because I will put that into the video, and if I go back and listen to my videos, if I see that I made a mistake, I will put it in writing into the video on the same page that I gave you the measurements, so that you'll see that if there's something that's wrong, because sometimes you can be thinking one thing and saying another. So I want to tell you, I'm not an expert at any of the paper crafting. I do it for fun. I do it as a hobby, and I also work full-time and then some. So it's not like, if I was retired, I might take more time to actually write out the measurements and the directions and things like that. But I cannot do that because I just don't have the time to do that. So then what I was going to do is I was going to take this so this flips out to another page. So we could do a scene across here. We could do one big piece in here. Or, you know, maybe I can do something in the center with the design. But for now, I'm going to put these pages in because as I'm putting them in, if I don't have anything definitive that I want to put on there yet, other than I have some papers cut out over here, I believe for the front of this page. And the measurements for this is exactly the same as this one. The only thing that you're going to have to do is make sure that this is cut down again by the 16th or 8th, whatever you need to make this be so it'll fit in that flap. So just start out, my suggestion would be is start out the measurements that I gave you here and then trim on the inside edge where you think you may need to trim. The other thing that I thought about was taking this and opening it up. You can see opening it up from the top, but I think I'm going to go with just opening out because I don't know if the top is just going to be too... Oh, this is the paper I don't like very much. My concern is that I don't want to have it so big that it's not enjoyable to look at for the individuals that want to look at the pictures in the book. So we're matching that up end to end. And then what I would like to do is make sure that I trimmed, I think I'm going to have to trim that just a little bit. And when I say a little bit, a lot of times what I use as an indicator of my little bit is on my cutter. I think this is like, I don't know, what is it? This is 1/8. I think, wait, this is 1/4. This is 1/8. I mean, it is less than 1/8 of an inch. It's, I don't know, it's just a smidge. Is there a measurement such as a smidge? So this is what I mean by a smidge. Can you see that? It's very, very thin. And I would rather go back and take 2 smidges off than take too big of a cut right off the bat because I've been known to do that. So this one, in putting this together, you can do one of 2 things. You can put this together right on top of here, or you can put this together so that your page fits right onto the page on this side. And I think I'm going to do that because it'll give us even a little bit more, it'll be a little bit shorter along here for our folding. Plus it makes it easier to get it more even on the page. So that's what I'm going to do. And as they say, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. All right. So let's go along here. And the edges of these, again, will be covered by our pattern paper. And there won't be anything sticking out because we've mitered the edges. So what happens is that we have this, and this goes down like that. And then our cards will go down like this, and we'll hold that down. All right, so I'm going to put glue on here, all the way down here and through here. And then I'll come back and put this on. Oh. said I was going to do that differently. Well, I put it around, so because I want to make a pocket out of this. Just be careful not to get your glue on the back side of this paper. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to put this on, and this one we're going to do all the way around as well. And the reason why I put black backing on both of these was because I wanted to make sure that I could make a pocket and it fit evenly around both of these sides. Now, I'm not 100% sure how this pocket's going to work. I know it'll work to a certain extent. I just thought this was a different idea than what I had done before and wanted to try that out. And so then what I'm going to do here is put my magnet down. Let's see how well this is going to work, even though I got it in the wrong spot. I think it'll be fine though, because there's not going to be anything too, oh for goodness sakes, not going to be anything too heavy on this page. So we're going to put that down and press that down right here. This is where our magnet lives. So I think it'll be fine, especially if we put something in there. It's not going to interfere with anything. Now I had some other items that were cut because I was thinking about putting this on this spot and using this floral tag, but I'm not sure if I like that or not. So I have to, oh, you know what? I think what I'd rather do is to put this all the way to this side, put this possibly to the inside here, or the outside there, and then put another piece of plainer paper down there, and that didn't stay where it should have. And then this would, the reason why I'm doing this is because I think that it would look better to make it more of a continuous piece coming down here than on there. I don't know. I have to think about that one. Let's see if I like that or if I'm going to change that out. So that is our first page. Well, I guess it's not going to work. I'll put that there. So otherwise, the other thing that I thought about doing was putting this down just as a solid piece on here. And actually, I think I'm going to do that because I think that that's a little bit, see, I don't like that. Do you guys like it? I feel like this seems weird. Well, I guess it's about flowers, so maybe it's not weird. It just looks like a recipe to me. I don't know. Maybe we should put that in there because actually now that I put that down, that more solid tone color looks pretty good on there rather than the pattern. Okay, I'm going to use the one that I don't like. Hey, we're just going to put a lot of pictures on this page, so I like but I have to say I really like the raspberry burgundy kind of tone on that page. I think that it really complements the colors on the other pages. So when you're doing an album, just do what you like and enjoy that process. I have to say, I like decorating albums when they go well. Notice my caveat, when they go well. But I really like the process of building the album more than I like decorating. And I know that that seems weird, but it's kind of like the process of, I love making boxes. And, you know, that's the construction process. And not that I dislike putting the paper on or decorating it. It's just, I just like the construction process even more than some of the other things that, here, hopefully I'm in screen. Sorry if I'm not. I don't know if you hear that in the background, but that's my dog snoring. He snores worse than my father did when we were growing up. Let me just make sure I hear that? I don't know. Sometimes, you know, when you're on YouTube and you're recording, it feels like everybody's going to hear everything that's going on, but in essence, you don't really hear it. So if you hear it, it's not my father snoring in the background. It is my dog. And he's a Cane Corso, is the type of dog he is. He actually weighs about 130 to 140 pounds, big old guy. He's a big old baby. Likes to sleep in my lap. He actually lives more often with my daughter than he does with me, but we're just kind of switching off with the dogs right now. And there we go. I think that, you know, as far as a solid paper goes, that's probably going to be our best bet. But I think I'm going to put some photo frames on there just to kind of make that a little bit different. So then, maybe what I should do then is, nope, I wanted to do this. So I think I'm going to do this on this inside page. I think I'm going to do that, but I am going to wait because for these are basically going to be putting down, I'm either going to quilt them with the paper or I'm going to put solid pieces down here, but I want to see what I've got left. It just gives me a little bit better opportunity to see what else I can do with those pages. So I'm going to leave those pieces in there, leave this right here. I'll get something to put into that pocket, and we are going to go on to our next section. I sure hope I didn't put that. So I have not gone ahead and I've not prepared for this part yet. So I am going to hop off. It will only be a few minutes for you, but it'll be a little while for me, unless I just go through this much more simplistically. But we'll see. I don't want to put too many flips and flaps in our book, but I want to make it interesting enough as we go along. So this is a tutorial number 2. I'm going to check out how much we've been on the clock, and if we're under an hour, I will continue to bring you the rest of what's going on here, and then continue on with our tutorials as we go. So thank you very much for watching right now, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, crafters, well, as far as getting a little bit more done, I'm just going to do the back of page 1, and I want to show you, I'm going to put my papers down here again, like I said, when see what I have left over. And what really happened with this part of the box is, or book, oh my goodness, is I was able to take one G45 tag or a handmade tag, whatever you'd like, and I put that down so that it came down the front of this, and then I put another one in here that came down the back of it. So kind of cool that it gives me 2 spots so that it doesn't become overwhelmed. And again, I'm going to cut those as I find the leftover scraps. So I'll do these kinds of things off camera more towards the end when we're getting closer to being done. And what I'd like to do is on this page is to do something just a little bit less thick than what we were working on because of we have so much on this front of this page, and then we'll do something a little bit bigger on this side, and I already know what I want to do over there. So on this side, I pulled this paper, and I want to put this down first, and then we are going to put that down as well as the pocket. So the pattern paper on this piece is 8 1/8 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to put this down, and then I'm going to put the pocket on so that we're over that area, meaning that it goes over the design paper. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and after this is down, I'm going to give you the measurements for everything else, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put that together and speed this up a little bit. If there's anything that I need to tell you, I will tell you when I come back, but this way I can speed the rest of this up a little bit. So you got the measurements for this. Then this is the pocket, and the pocket is 9 1/8 by 3 7/8. You're going to score at the bottom and score on both sides 1/2 inch, and miter the corners on all of that. Then your paper is going to be 3 1/4 by 8 inches. It's going down there. And then we are also going to be putting this little booklet on there as well. And you see I use the smaller magnets. But I'm leaving them in. Again, we'll finish this up whether I'll do solid or pattern paper in there. So what I did is I made this booklet. The booklet is 3 7/8. So it's 3 7/8 going across, and this is 5 3/8. So now the 5 3/8 needs to be doubled because you need it to go the long way. If you want to open it sideways, you have to double that measurement. The other thing is that I did cut this down. So with this being, this card was originally 4 inches, and it is now cut down to 3 3/8. I think that's right. Maybe I'm wrong. 1, 2, 3 5/8. I'm sorry. So this was cut down to 3 5/8, and lengthwise it was cut down to just about 5 or 5 1/8. So that way, and the reason why I did that was because I needed to, if I had left it 4 by 6, I would not have enough border to go around with the 12-inch pieces. So, you know, the other thing that you can do is open it sideways. I had already cut out my paper, and so that's why I changed it. But I probably would recommend doing it, I would recommend doing it 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then this is what you would have to double. You know, if it was sitting like this, not this small, you would do 4 1/4, 4 1/4, the width-wise, and lengthwise it would be 6 1/4. So it would have been better if it had gone off like this. It wouldn't be quite so wide, and it would work out well. Just because I have cut this down already, I didn't want to change all of that out. So this is going to work just fine. All right, so I'm going to put everything together, and I'll be back in just a minute with you, or I'll speed this up. right, crafters, so you can see that I put my book slightly on an angle, and I have glued this so that I can still tuck something in here. It just feels a little loose because of this top piece, but this is, whether I put this, you know, a graphic 45 tag in there, or I put another kind of tag in there, just depends. We'll see what happens with how much room we have and how much paper we have. We should have enough. So we've got these few pages done, but we also have the front cover done, and the back cover is covered in the cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on some of these other pages to put them together with you. So this is the end of tutorial number 2, and I will see you again in the next video. Thank you so much. Have a great day.